You ever look at a really slick magazine or a cool poster and wonder, how did they do that? Well, it's not magic, it's a skill. And today we're jumping right into that skill, which is absolutely essential if you're studying graphic communication. It's called desktop publishing, or DTP for short. This is pretty much your key to creating amazing promotional graphics. Okay, let's put you in the driver's seat. Imagine you're a junior designer and you've just been handed your very first project. Consider this explainer your guide, walking you through everything you need to know to totally nail it. So you ready to get started? Before you even think about placing a single pixel on the page, you've got to understand the power you're working with. And that power, it comes from your DTP software. Honestly, it's not just a program. It's more like a set of creative superpowers that let you build basically anything you can imagine. So, what are these superpowers exactly? Well, you can kind of break them down into two big categories. First, you get this incredible creative freedom. You can mix graphics and text seamlessly, use layers to build up depth, and you've got millions of fonts and colors right there. Then, you get professional precision. This is about building really complex layouts and using grids to make sure every single thing is perfectly lined up. It's that combo of freedom and control that makes DTPs so awesome. Of course, it's not all perfect. This software can be pretty pricey, and it definitely takes some time to learn. And sometimes having so many options can feel a bit overwhelming. And here is what all that power looks like in the real world. This isn't just a bunch of stuff thrown on a page. It's all carefully planned out. See how the big heading and the subheading just grab your attention? And then you've got the main chunks of text, which we call extended text. DTP is what gives you the fine-tuned control to place all these bits and pieces exactly where they need to go, making the whole thing look polished and super professional. So, amazing software is one thing, but it's pretty useless if you can't get your ideas into the computer in the first place. So, let's talk about the hardware, the actual physical tools you'll use to bridge the gap between your brain and the screen. Every project starts with an idea, right? But how do you get it into the machine? Well, a good digital camera is your best bet for capturing really crisp, high-quality photos. Got a brilliant drawing on a piece of paper? A scanner is perfect for digitizing that. Now, if you love to draw, a graphic tablet is, well, it's a total game changer. And hey, don't forget your phone. It's great for quickly snapping or scanning ideas when inspiration hits you out of the blue. Okay, I have to zoom in on the graphic tablet for a second because for anyone who illustrates, this thing is revolutionary. It lets you translate the natural feeling of drawing by hand, the pressure, the flow, directly into digital art. You just get a level of precision and control that is basically impossible to get with a regular mouse. All right, so we've got our software superpowers, and we have our hardware toolkit. Now it's time to actually understand the canvas itself. You see, every professional layout has this kind of hidden blueprint, a secret structure. And if you want to design like a pro, you have to learn to see it. So let's dissect a page. So what you're looking at right now is a classic magazine layout with everything labeled. I know, it might look a little complicated at first, but it's really just built from a few simple logical parts. So over the next few slides, we're going to break down exactly what all these terms mean for you. Let's start with the basic frame of the page. You've got the header at the top and the footer at the bottom. These give your document consistency, kind of like a letterhead. The folio, that's just a fancy word for the page number, is obviously super important for helping people navigate. And margins? Don't just think of them as empty space. They're like crucial breathing room that keeps your design from feeling all cramped and cluttered. Okay, now for the content itself. We use columns to break up big blocks of text and make them way easier to read. That little sliver of space between the columns, that's called the gutter. And sometimes you'll see a thin vertical line there for a bit of extra visual separation. That line is called a column rule. Then up top, you've got the big heading that grabs your attention and the subheading right below it that tells you a bit more and makes you want to keep reading. It's all about leading the reader's eye through the page. Now, for two little pro moves that will really make your design stand out. First is a bleed. This is when an image goes right to the very edge of the paper, past the margins. It creates this really powerful, immersive look. The other one is a floating element. This is something like a pull quote that breaks out of the main column structure. You do it on purpose to add a bit of visual drama and highlight something important. These are the little details that make a layout really pop. So we've got the structure down, now it's time to add the magic. I mean, knowing the parts of a page is one thing, but knowing the dynamic techniques to actually manipulate those parts, that's what separates a good design from a great one. These are the action verbs of DTP. First up, cropping. And listen, this is so much more than just making a picture smaller. It's really a storytelling tool. When you crop out a distracting background or zoom in on a tiny detail, you're taking control of the story. You get to decide exactly what the viewer focuses on. And once you've cropped your image, you can easily rotate it or even reverse it to create a mirror image if that works better for your layout. And here's a perfect example of that. On the left, it's a nice photo of a building, right? But with one simple crop to get rid of the boring sky, like you see on the right, bam, it becomes this powerful, dramatic shot that's all about the building's architecture. The whole focus changes. That's what a good crop can do. Next up is text wrap. This is one of the most important tricks for making your images and words play nicely together. Without it, you get these clunky-looking blocks sitting next to each other. But with a good text wrap, the words flow organically around the shape of an image, and the whole design just feels more unified and professional. I mean, why should text always have to be in a boring, straight line? It doesn't. Flowing text along a path lets you totally break free from the grid. You can make your text curve around a logo, arc over a photo. You can make it follow any shape you want. It's such a cool way to add energy and a custom feel to your work. Okay, transparency is like your secret weapon for creating depth. By making an element just a little bit see-through, you can layer text on top of a busy photo and still have it be perfectly readable. It's also great for creating subtle, layered graphic effects that add a real touch of class to your design. Finally, let's talk about justification. All this really means is how your text lines up inside its box. But the choice you make has a huge impact on the final feel. Left aligned is the most common because it's the easiest for our brains to read. Right aligned can feel a bit more formal or artistic. Fully justified gives you those clean, sharp edges on both sides, like you see in a newspaper. And centered, well, that's your classic choice for things like titles or wedding invitations. So we've covered the tools, the software, the techniques, all the cool stuff. But there is one last topic that is just as important, if not more so: your own well-being. Look, a career in design is a marathon, not a sprint, and that means you have to work smart and stay safe. We've got to talk about protecting your most valuable creative asset, which is you. This isn't about boring safety rules. It's about being able to do this for a long, long time. An adjustable chair, taking breaks from the screen, making sure your lighting isn't causing glare. These things aren't optional. They're the professional habits that will let you have a long, healthy, and creative career without burning out. I love this quote because it just sums it all up perfectly. You're not going to do your best work if you're fighting off a headache from eye strain or a sore back. Seriously, think of it this way. A healthy designer is a creative designer. Taking care of yourself isn't something you do after the work. It is part of the work. And there you have it, the fundamental tools, the anatomy of a professional page, all those cool techniques, and the golden rule of working safely. You are now officially equipped with the core knowledge of desktop publishing. Your first design brief is waiting. So the only question left is, what are you going to create first?